It's the Frequently Asked Questions podcast. Fuzz, we are broadcasting live from, is it Slick?
Slick Studios.
Slick Studios.
With 2 C's.
Shout out to Baron Davis. We appreciate Oh, boy.
Interesting.
Nice.
I made a joke. We're in LA. I made a joke on some like street names with somebody, and I won't do it again. So I'm like,
Q just be throwing out sets and neighborhoods and not knowing.
It was so bad.
Everybody don't know though. Everybody don't know. Everybody don't know.
Tell them like,
relax.
Yeah.
It was a calm like relax. But Fuzz, we have this guy here today.
You can say genius.
Sound of LA. He's had a lot of pressure on him since a really early age to become this guy that he is today.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, he's traveled around the world a couple times. He's from, I guess, down the street?
Yeah,
down the street?
Definitely L.A. Yeah, South Central.
We have Marlon live right there though.
Yeah, Marlon stay down the street.
Yeah,
that's our guitarist.
Ooh,
yeah.
Marlon. He's a very well known in the L.A. in the music scene.
It might be safe to say Marlon Williams is probably in our generation the most recorded guitarist.
Definitely.
Well,
for sure.
We have a musical genius with us today.
Let's say genius.
Terrace Martin.
Terrace Martin.
Thank you, Terrace. What's up, Terrace?
I don't know if I'm a genius, but I get the job done.
Bruh, no, you definitely get the job done.
I like that shirt, man.
Yeah.
Very L.A. Black Beverly Hills.
Overhill.
Overhill. Yeah, tennis.
I used to go to Overhill.
Yeah, man.
So, Fuzz, where do we start with Terrace Martin, bro? Like, Terrace Martin is one of these people that, I mean, bro, like, he's calm, he's collected, but he has a lot of credits under his name. Like, a lot. Like, he's done a lot.
No, he's done more than a lot. Like, I met Terrace when, I want to say he was just a kid, but yeah, he was just a kid. Like
a long time ago.
Long time ago. And Terrace is a hip hop head, but he played the sax. So I'm like, oh snap! I know what this is.
Yeah.
But Terrace is very. He has layers. So I want us to talk about the layers of Terrace, meaning like his jazz background, his hip hop background, him as an artist, him as a producer. He's a father.
Yes.
I just had 10 puppies too. Well, I didn't have puppies with the dog, but the dogs had puppies.
Are you selling them? Are you?
No, man. I'm placing them in very conscious homes that know how to work real American pit bull terriers. Like these are dogs that'll save your life. You know.
Yeah.
These are dogs. These aren't the big blue dogs that hup like the big ones. No, these are dogs that are meaningful. Now, all dogs are meaningful, but these dogs work.
Got it. Yeah, you look serious about it.
No, you're serious about it.
Yeah, no, I see it.
Dogs. Yeah, I trust dogs more than people.
Really?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, look, again, FAQ Podcast. Please subscribe. FAQ Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you check out podcasts. Terrace Martin. So, Fuzz, I guess
we got to start where it started from.
Yeah, dude. Like your father was in the music.
Yeah, he still is. He's a drummer. He's from back east, from like New York and then Nebraska. And then he moved to LA in the mid 70s with he was writing and producing with a guy by the name of Willie Hutch in the 70s. And
that's Willie Hutch's 70s. If you look at his album artwork, that's
if you black,
you understand.
Ain't got any roots in the 70s, you know Willie Hutch.
But name your father's name is, you didn't say.
My father's name is
Crowley?
Because I'm only stuttering because he just texted me and said, start saying my whole real name. But I'm gonna say my father's name is Curly Martin.
That's how I know him.
That's how everybody know him.
Right.
And he got a record coming out soon, so he
nice.
he on that.
He trying to be on that, you know. But yeah, and you know, he's from East, and my mom's from out here, the LA area.
But okay, you can't just skip over your mom because your mom was a part of a group that I love.
So my mom is from a town called Bakersfield, California.
Okay.
That's like Central California. That's like you have LA, you have the San Fernando Valley, then you have like Santa Clarita, then you have Gorman, then you have where the grapevine, heard it through the grapevine. Well, you have the grapevine drops. And where the grapevine drops, that's Central California. That's like the flat land of California, because that's like the valley. California is a lot of mountains and hills. That's also where all of the small and things settle. in California. It has the worst. Bakersfield, California, Central California probably has some of the worst air ever. But and that's that's where my mom and them is from. And they're from the east side of Bakersfield, which is like it's already Bakersfield, and then they from a town. They from the area that's like.
So is Bakersfield like hood?
It's hood and country mixed.
Yeah, it's hood and open.
But it's very like you would think going to Bakersfield. Bakersfield feels like Dallas, Texas, and things like. It doesn't feel like. It feels like it's its own thing, and it's where everybody passes through from L.A. to get to the Bay. You got to pass Bakersfield. Yeah. So sometimes like a major act maybe will do a show, but maybe not. So what I'm saying, Snoop used to always hit Bakersfield, but then so she's from a place where it's no industry, it's no place. So it's these two people that come from different places. They both come to L.A. for a dream. She comes 2 hours down, moves out here when she was like 17. You know what I'm saying? Over there in the Harlems.
You're talking about Mama Rose.
Yeah, Mama Rose and my aunties and everything like
but
that.
But then tell them about the group.
I am. Let me get to that.
He's like I'm walking. He's
skipping over some key things.
No. I'm skipping just so whoever's viewing it could truly understand
the dynamic of it.
Because you said layers.
Yeah.
What with you think? Yeah, no, we one of these guys that I don't lie, so we gotta just the layers. But so because all that shit made me. So them components is deep how they worked out. And my pops was out here. My mom was out here. Her family was out here. And my mom is a singer and songwriter, keyboardist. And, she met my dad at a rehearsal on a gig. Them doing the gig, they was rehearsing for a group that used to be for a club that used to be in L.A., owned by a Los Angeles legend named Earl Moore from the 70s and 80s. The club was called Stage One. This is early 80s. This is late 70s, early 80s LA, where clubs like Stage One, and you had like the Tiki Lounge, and you had these different things that
Total experience.
But that was a whole other side. That's a whole other side. This is like LA. People don't know LA had a rich jazz, soul music live scene, like a real rich one that never gets credit. But these are the scenes that Patrice Rushen came out of, and Dougal Chancellor and Gerald Albright and like Gerald Wilson and Rick James would come and get the baddest cats to play in his band from these scenes. And Solar Records and Quincy Jones always came in. Like, matter of fact, it's an album that Marvin Gaye did called Hear My Dear, one of my favorite albums. A lot of the musicians on that album are from this thick LA scene that they didn't just get the credit for different things. But you could look at cat like great guitarists like Wally Ali, played on so many records. But either way, it was a scene in LA. It was a scene that my parents met out of. Like what I do, what Thundercat do, what Kamasi do, this is nothing new. We're products of children from this scene that kind of got wiped out of LA. But we're like the kids from the scene. That. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So, and then my aunties all sing, we have a big musical family on my mom's side, my cousins and everything. We just a lot of different family members. And then my aunties all got together. They formed a group called the Perry Sisters, and they really got on by, they was already cracking in Bakersfield and L.A., but they really got on by taking Pat Metheny cassette tapes and writing words to these songs and then sending the demos. Back then you could look at a record and look at the address and send the song to that address. Wow. And the people would come and drop off the tapes on the doorsteps, So they would sing to the Pat Metheny songs and write words to them. And one of them got the Pat Metheny and blew it. Directly, yeah, and blew. He got the tape somehow, and blew his wig back, and he called him to go on the road, and they got into that scene with Pat Metheny and the Yellow Jackets and different things like that, and these are powerful black women in a jazz scene, but also not only that, but they was kind of on this like all the white jazz musicians like them, and that's I'm saying that for a reason because these were like. They was the sound to all these guys. They was the sound. These guys was learning from them. And I know, because I could hear these guys playing, they sound like my Auntie Lorraine, or they sound like that. They may not say it, but they was learning from them. That's the thing. Now that I'm older, I know that's what cats do. They
Swag
they
Jack.
kind of be cracking and they go get the real shit. I don't think it was swag jack. I mean, not that world. That world is more like let me give so I could take. Like that world is a push and pull type of world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you know, and then through that, caught the ears of Anita Baker. And then just so my family, we grew up tight with the whole Anita Baker thriving movement. You know, I remember being young, sitting on the side of the stage watching Anita do fairy tales, or me having to go to Germany for 6 months with my mom and them, or just to study different things, or just, you know, going to London young and didn't want to go. Or just, you know, like and then
in the mix, not
and
knowing
then,
that you're really in the mix.
Yeah, like always in studios till 5 a.m, always at video shoots, and just being exhausted of it. Not knowing that it was preparing me, and also seeing just when it came to my aunties, like Lorraine, Sharon, Carolyn, and Darlene, that's them particularly, and my father being a jazz drummer, I always would see both of them practice. My aunties would practice harmony, learning tunes. My dad be practice rudiments and sight reading every day. So I would always just see practice rudiment. And then my mom kind of fell back a little bit to really go get a job, because none of these niggas was making money. And my mom had to be the one to be like, well, let me be the root to, like, you know, and not saying we all was together, but my mom had me. And it was also a time when music was transitioning. You know, people think all this transition shit is new, and the internet. That's how you could tell they ain't had the heart to begin with, because life always changes. So this was the era where, like, I remember the drum machine and electronic music being ushered in, because at first every 3 houses in South Central LA was a musician household, and niggas was in houses. Sorry, brothers and sisters was in houses, but I tell everybody I'm pro-black, but I'm pro-nigga. You feel what I'm saying? That's a real thing. You know, you try talking that shit different places, it reacts differently. Yeah. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, no.
But it was the first transition that I can remember being a product of was when everybody could work 5-6 nights in LA. And this is LA, New York, Philly, DC. This is the world. This is the world. This is the black world I'm talking about. I remember two things. I remember when hip hop became on the rise and electronic instruments start rising. And I remember also at the same time, electronic shit was rising. Crack cocaine had just dropped a rock in everybody's black living room at the same time. So you had all these artists now that are out of work, and now this evil ass monster just came and went bam and dropped this thing that they wasn't feeling love. You know, this is like early 80s going into mid 80s. They wasn't feeling love because there was no work around town, because motherfuckers started getting DJs, because music started changing. Yeah. Drum machines came in. The reason the keyboard, ain't no reason to hire horn players and piano players no more. It's all in the keyboard. We don't got it. And music is changing where that synth keyboard, that horn sound that a saxophonist of a certain level may say that's corny, now became a standard, became a sound. So all these musicians, percussion players, piano players, singers, everything became out of work. And now everybody is having, you know, hard to get work. You've been an artist all your life. You can't just go get a fucking day job. It's a different mentality to do that shit, you know. So then you got the artist that sold a little bit of dope on the side. I was a product of this kind of household. So then sold a little dope. Now you got everybody trying to sell a little dope, kind of, because the black artists usually know where the dope is. That's the next hustle. Let's try to do that. Try to sell a little dope till things boil over. Now, because of depression, things ain't doing right because you want to go out and make some noise musically, artistically. Now you're heartbroken because your wife or your husband or whoever. Well, this the era I'm talking about, your wife or your husband. That's this era. I'm talking about an era, everybody. Right. That shit is frustrating in a black household. And when we get frustrated, sometimes we at that era, we didn't have so many tools to learn how to communicate, so we would argue. And through argument finds heartbreak and disgust. Then that's when that glass bitch was coming in. Yeah. And then wiped out everybody through heartbreak, through broken heart, and that sickness came in. And now you got that era. Now the clubs is gone in LA. A6, the clubs is going, music programs, gang banging at an all-time high. It's cracking, Crips, Bloods. It's like, it's booming.
And you growing up in this, you're 6,
I'm
7,
there.
8
I'm on
years
West
old.
Boulevard in Slauson. I'm there. I'm hearing the jazz playing, but my dad got addiction. My mama working all day, frustrated. My aunties, Perry and them, they was the only one catapulting because they was always in Europe. So even through this shit,
They was working.
we would still see like them, but they would be, we all still lived in the same areas. Mm-hmm. So Christmas time came. Thank God we got them though at the time because they had passports.
Right.
See, that sounds and they wasn't just going to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and I feel you.
No, this was different. They taught us how to eat with chopsticks young and taught us never say, I don't like the way that smell. We had all these things that we didn't know we had these upper echelon ways, but in the hood. All of us, Kamasi father got the same story. All of his parents got the same story.
So that's the part I was trying to picture. Like he come from a musical background.
Yeah.
So that every time we talk Terrace, like I know Terrace on a personal level, but this is what makes me like, oh, you get both sides. You get the R&B world, you get the gospel side, you get the hip hop side. Like it was always around you.
It was always around, and I was also I wasn't raised in an artistic household. I was raised with a mama that loved music and loved everything, but she was a realist.
Yeah.
She always used to say, some cheese better than no cheese. When I first started playing the saxophone, I practiced all these Charlie Parker solos and Coltrane solos. Mama and Coltrane. And, that's why I love Philly. It's so many amazing, Grover Washington, John Coltrane, Michael Brecker, like so many musicians come from Philly. That's another one too. But my mom would always say, because she was a musician too, she always knock on the door, bah, 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 you better put that damn horn down and play that keyboard.
So what was your first instrument?
Keyboard players work.
What was your first instrument?
That I was serious about?
Yes.
Saxophone. I was always playing, but the serious, like, the first one I said, oh, fuck, gang banging. Oh, I don't give a fuck about money. I don't care about nothing. How do I care? I was just telling him, because I was his age when I fell in love with it. And I was like,
about your son,
my son Todd, I was telling him last night, I was like, man, I didn't know what the fuck. People always think you born with this thing. But I remember walking through seeing like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do in my life. I'm getting straight F's. I'm ditching school. I got kicked out of 2 schools. I just caught my first gun case. My mama, I know I'm not a bad person, but I know she can't control me. I'm out here. I'm in love with the crippin'. I'm in love with it, but I don't want to be violent. I just kind of like the cars and the girls and the popularity and just being a fellowship and learning things. I didn't really like the violent side. That's why even my G's that I grew up under, like Big D, people from my neighborhood, they was never passionate about inflicting violence. It was always solutions with all the gangsters I grew up under, So I remember being 13, being like, man, what I'm gonna do? I'm about to go to high school. I don't got no skills. Damn, what the fuck at least I could read. I could read and I could count because I wanted money. So I want money. And what am I do? I fuck with music, but I was like, I'm 13, 14. Like, I'm not one of them, like, child born. Everybody, keep in mind, I'm painting that picture. My view of music was fucked up. Daddy on crack, money, no money, living in the hood, mama day job tripping. I'm not trying to think about I'm like, I gotta get some money, though, but I like music, though. I like music.
So you seeing it from your parents like, damn, I don't want to do that because it's not bringing no money in.
That's just, and it's causing havoc. It's causing every musician household I know is every black musician household I know turned into like either just unhappy one, or and due to drugs, or due to depression, or due to people being creative, not being able to make money what they want to do. I think for everybody. So I remember, man, my mom was like, you better ask the Holy Spirit what you want. And I was like, well, damn, let me ask him. And I was like, Jesus and God, whoever gonna pick up this particular call, if you fuck with me, I said this and I taught, and this is what I said last night, if you fuck with me and give me something I could do, I'm a commit.
And so
what was the sign?
That's 2 weeks later, I went to visit my dad in Harlem. My dad was playing a gig. jazz gig. And at that time too, I just started getting into girls. And I remember, man, my uncle was playing sax too on that gig, Richie Love. Man, I've been seeing Richie I've been seeing saxophones all my life around the house and wasn't tripping on that shit. And then, cause being in the band was some nerdy shit when I came up. Having a horn was like some weak shit. Like, nigga got a horn, nigga? We'll beat you up and take this horn, punk. Like it was, I'm telling you, it was presented like that. You know, where I come from.
Growing up, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, this Dominican woman after the gig was like, who's your father? I was like, Curly. Oh, I love the way he played the drums. And she looked so beautiful, man. She was so beautiful. Beautiful face, lips, beautiful breast, you know. She had no bra on. And I'm 13. She kneeled down and said, you should play the saxophone.
Sold.
I said, why? She said, because you could make love to your woman without touching her.
She told you this at 13, bro?
And I said,
she was hitting on you.
I told my dad, yeah. Well, I don't know. But thank God for her.
What's her name? Do you remember her name?
Mm-mm. I wouldn't say if I did.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
If you found out who she was right now, you think you try to knock her down?
Nah. But you know what?
Me, lady.
I asked my dad to buy me a horn, and he bought me a horn. I got the picture of. I sent you that picture. I got the picture the first day. I had the horn. I had the blue. I had the blue sweater, the blue Yankee hat turned backwards. It was my full transition. It was like God was like, not you, nigga. Bam.
He bought you a horn.
My dad. My dad. Shout out to my dad and his girl at the time, Leslie. They bought me the horn. You know, you got to say that. Niggas on Facebook, personal Facebook is deep. Fuck this industry shit. Personal Facebook is a motherfucker. That's where every cousin you don't talk to publicly, you got to talk to him.
You right.
They saying all kind, you know, you pee in the bed at 13, all kind of shit publicly. So yeah, then you know that. But yeah, where was we at?
So they got you the horn while you was in New York.
They got me the horn.
Dad and Miss Leslie.
That next year, I went my first year in high school. And my mom didn't want me to go to my school district school because she didn't want me. She saw a way where if she put me in a different place, she could change my direction. Environment's a motherfucker. I tell everybody that. Everybody, it's in you, man. Fuck that. Put your baby in a place. If you live in a place, spend some extra time and get on the bus a little longer or drive. Take your baby to the best zoo in your city. Yeah, take your baby to the best parks. You ain't got to be, just because where you live at, it ain't got to be, man, my daddy, we always caught the bus to the beach. I didn't even know it was the ghetto till NWA came out, bro. I didn't know I thought it was
normal.
Well, yeah, man, because it wasn't that, it was like a movie, but it wasn't like a movie like every day, like, you know. But, what was we at?
So yeah, I'm trying to keep you on track. The horn.
The horn, yeah.
So they
I
bought
came
you the
back,
horn.
my mama checked me into Santa Monica High School. I went to Santa Monica High the first year, and the first day I walked in, Terry Saka, the band director, I lined up. He said, what do you play? I said, I play alto saxophone. He's like, we don't have any more saxophones.
Yeah,
I said, I got my own saxophone. Yeah, we from the West Side.
Floss.
We ain't on that, man. I got my own saxophone, bro. I just need the information. And you know, he was being kind of weird with me. I remember the energy, and but right in the room next door was a guy practicing by the name of Ben Wendell, my first white friend ever. Well, he's a famous saxophonist right now too. Okay. And Ben Wendell is a master saxophonist on sight reading everything. He heard me. He was like, "Hey man, I'll show you some shit." So Ben and just going to his class every day got me right on my fundamentals. But by then my heart was already yearning to learn. So then I started digging into Miles Davis, Sonny Stitt, Charlie Parker, Jackie McLean, Bud Powell, Fats Navarro, John Coltrane, Yusef Lateef. I just started digging in. And back then, there was no internet. So I went to the library and was getting encyclopedias, the jazz encyclopedia. I would catch the bus to UCLA library, read the jazz, and I would look how they looked. I would look at the fashion, and I was intrigued with before even the music, I was intrigued with the fashion, how these niggas look. Mm-hmm. Diamond cluster, pinky rings, like Miles, that's why I'm in the watches. Miles, on my favorite pictures, he's always wearing that clean-ass Breitling watch in the 50s. You got to know what that means for black men to wear that in 1957, 58.
Yeah.
Playing a horn, playing a clean-ass suit. Bread, cracking anything moving up in there.
Yeah.
that stood for power to me. The same way I was in love with the homies in the hood, that was shifting the power to a different way. I fell in love with Miles Davis like that. I fell in love with Coltrane like that because they was bosses in their own right. And that's what I yearn for, men with power. For some reason, I always was wanting to be around that because in my era, I didn't see too much of that. We was out of power because that dope was coming in, financial stress was coming in, doubt was coming in, joy was lost. So, the first thing that the enemy did was straight attack the man in the household. So it was a lot of just working out how to heal hearts. That's why it's so many in my era broken households. It ain't because really, we could say some of the fathers was this, some of the fathers was that. But now being a father, if you don't know that situation and that human being's thing, you just don't know no more. Yeah. So I didn't grow up seeing a lot of that. So I was always, for some reason, I just think that the creator pulled me. Bro, is that the food? I think that's the food, bro.
Yeah, the food is sponsored by.
It's right. Is it here?
Insert here.
No, she grabbed it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the map say?
Yeah, it's a
go outside and check anyway. Be proactive.
See,
nigga,
talking to his son. I know we were talking, but I kind of like you putting the foot in your son's ass because he
be floaty, man.
They be floaty. They need it.
They be floaty, man. And his mom just let me know. He said, "Well, Terry, they don't grow it. He ain't no pressure." His story completely did. And his mama graduated. You asked her Alexis. You asked her what she was doing at 14. She was like, "I was in my junior year of high school." What you mean?
At 14? Oh, she
was rated a genius. Yeah,
she's smart.
Her sister just graduated Syracuse. It's a lot of. I understand though, but my thing is with him, all my children, with him, is being a young black man. I gotta go hard on my baby because I be damned if the streets do, because I'm gonna kill something.
Yeah. No.
Period.
Yeah.
I ain't no art, ain't no none of that shit. For mine, I'm gonna kill something. Like he know. Unfortunately, but fortunately, it's gonna be a different thing. The police pull me. I don't know what's up, because you gotta know a certain thing, because you gotta follow this certain thing. So I'm adamant about that with my daughters too. But these young black boys seem to be targeted right now.
Yeah, they are.
We always have, but right now, so my expression may seem a little forced or hard because it is. Because if you ain't never fought no gun cases, been shot at, been tripped on, been in part of hood shit, politics shit, squabbling shit, any of that, you can't talk to me about nothing.
Yeah. So let's go from
with love.
I get, but yeah, it's your son.
So high school, the Horn, then.
So high school, the Horn, Ben Wendell, my first white friend. I'm advancing fast, but I'm still fucked up on the street shit. I caught a gun case in 9th grade.
Oh, wow, ninth grade.
I caught a gun case in 9th grade, not because I wanted to go kill anybody.
You just had it on you?
No, I was trying to sell it to get some money. So I could just I was wanting some money. So I was trying to sell a gun. But
and what was up with Mama Rose? How'd she feel about it?
She was
disappointed.
She was disappointed, but my family, it's let's just say it's a well balanced family. Like she's familiar to the characters. That's why I think she was so lenient with certain things with me, because she knew where to bend, where not to bend. She knew what to fight, what not to fight with me. My mama always respected me as her son, but I think now that I'm older, she respected me more like a human being first. That's why I grew up so free. My other aunties, you letting them talk so much, and my mom theory is I want him to talk a lot, so if something ever happened to him, he could tell me what happened. Yeah. I wasn't a kid. You stay in a child's place. I was respectful, but my mom used to let me, what I'm saying? Thank God. I think my kids I raised them the same way. His mom is more like, his mom is like, she's a scholar. I'm more like, okay, you got to see, at least you got action coming back. You know what I'm saying? His mom is like a B is like,
man, you better still.
Hey, your mom be going hard on you, huh?
He said, yeah.
He's a good kid, though. You can tell.
He's a good kid.
He cool. Well, no, he's mastered the way of acting cool to get to the next day. See, that's what they do. They master this slick thing. It pisses me off. But you can't do nothing because in the court, you're not doing nothing, but he's doing a lot right now. But it's cool.
We get it.
It's cool.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, dude, I saw something about you were in high school and Jay Leno connects with you.
Yeah,
Talk about that.
So I got kicked out of Santa Monica for a few reasons. Actually, the gun case was in the midst of me about to go to lock. I got kicked out of Santa Monica for a lot of different things. One of the things being I was very truant. I would ditch school. I got addicted to ditching school in 6th grade. I started ditching school, so it was hard to, I'd be like, I didn't go Monday first period. I'll start Tuesday. I didn't go Tuesday third. No sense to go until Wednesday.
But you made sure you made it to your music class?
Nah. I would catch the bus up to UCLA, and I would act like I would. First, I knew from junior high from catching the bus up there with the homies. UCLA had a video game arcade. We was in the battling for Street Fighter 2 in that era. You know what I'm saying? And that was the championships to the hood niggas like UCLA. We catch the bus up there to UCLA, and I was ditching since 7th grade going to UCLA. So when I fell in love with the horn, I was still ditching. The horn is involved, but I knew UCLA. One day I was going to Santa Monica the first week, and the music teacher had a flyer on the wall. It said Joshua Redman and Terrace Blanchard jazz clinic at UCLA. I forgot. Schindler's Hall.
No.
I forgot the hall,
yeah.
But one of those halls.
But Jay Leno.
Yeah, no, but this starts here though.
Yeah,
it starts here because this the plug.
Okay,
this the plug. So when I got kicked out of Santa Monica, they said, "Where you been going?" I had been going to UCLA so long. The teachers, Kenny Burrell and them, thought I was part of the classes. So I was playing at UCLA, studying all the youth. That's where I learned most of them. I was sneaking in the classes, the master classes, and studying music.
How old were you?
15.
That's cool.
So for like 4 months, I was just studying harmony and studying composition and studying classical music, and that's how I know about Bach, Beethoven, and different cats like that. And that's how I know, jazz, or New Orleans, and then went to Kansas City where the Ryerson will come in, Charlie Parker. Like you just know these things from the early things was studying up there. So I had been going up there anyway. So I went up to UCLA. I saw Joshua Redman and Terrace Blanchard.
Big deal.
Playing my face. I said, what? I didn't know what that shit was. That shit was like, it felt like they was saying fuck the, it felt like Terrace Blanchard for sure was saying fuck the police in his horn. You feel me?
Right.
It felt like Josh was like, nigga, I'm the best. You know what I'm saying? And Josh from the Bay. But at that time it was like a lot of cats was there, and they was talking about certain musicians, and they was talking about, it's a lot of musicians in LA out here, we don't live out here, but you guys ever go check out Ralph Moore? Hearing Ralph Moore that week, I went down to Leimert Park. I heard people talking about Ralph Moore, and my uncle Norman Loves, the tenor player, that same week was talking about Ralph Moore.
This name is coming up a lot.
Ralph Moore for this 1 week, and then I go to the world stage one day on a Saturday, and Ralph Moore's playing there in the midday. I'm like, man, you Ralph Moore, man, I feel like I'm supposed to meet you. And I met him first, and I got all his records, so I fell in love with Ralph Moore. And a year later, Ralph Moore was like, hey, I'm doing a TV show. I'm a horn player on the Tonight Show. We want to come up there, come check out how we read these charts down. Mind you, I'm still ditching, so that's nothing. I'll pull up. What time? 2 in the afternoon, y'all get there, I'm there. So I'm catching the bus up to Jay Leno, getting in with my horn, just looking at how they got it. Then that's where I first hear the term sight read. You better know how to sight read. All these great black musicians, Kevin Eubanks, they dropping music and they next, and I'm like, oh, that looks powerful. Remember, I'm in love with powerful. That looks powerful. I gotta know how to do that. Hey, Ben Wendell, first white friend, sound I'm like, how you sight read? Oh man, yeah, just practice, take it real slow. Every day, just practice real slow. Never practice fast. Never test yourself. Always practice slow. Always, and when it's time, it'll work. He always taught me reading music is like reading a book. It's a language.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was impressed by Ralph Moore reading that shit. And then Ralph Moore, one day I was there and he was like, it's a scholarship program. By then I'm like, I'm like 10th grade. In 10th grade in LA on the jazz scene by then it is what it is, respectfully. It's me and it's the older guys in LA. And it's me, it's Karan Harrison from View Park. It's Isaac Smith out of the Hoovers playing trombone, piano, teaching us all the shit. Living right on 83rd. We used to go to his house and learn all the music, right all in the hood. So I was, by 10th grade, I'm saying, I already had built this crazy community of monsters of musicians in LA. Monsters, like, God, just the best of the world. So when he said this, it's a scholarship coming up, you just got to audition. I'm already coming from the mindset of cripping. And competitiveness in the hood is what it is. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm hanging around the cats. So we just auditioned, me and my boy Ryan Porter. He went to Washington High. Cold. He still played with us with Kamasi, everybody. Ryan was better than all of us because Ryan could hear the shit one time and play it fast. And he could write out a whole score without no keyboard around. I used to get jealous of him because he didn't have to practice. It was that thing, you know. We used to get mad at each other because one was just better and just how we could teach us how to do that. So by the time that competition came around, Jay Leno was auditioning all these kids from, you know, California to New York, and he's wanted to get the best. And by the end of that, it was just me and Ryan standing and a few other cats, just me and Ryan. And he said, Ralph Moore was a personal friend, so he's like, hey, look, they got this scholarship, they got this, they got that, they got this, you know, these folks want you to go to that school. But this is how you need to do it. When you get the scholarship money, he was a real mentor with the bread. He was like, first you need to buy a professional saxophone because you can't play that.
That was a beginner set.
And then he said, you could go to any school you want, choose wisely. Choose wisely, make sure you go to a well-rounded college. Don't worry about the college, worry about the environment. So I was like, it's two places I could go. I could stay in LA or I gotta go where all my friends go to New York. For my mentality, I can only be where I'm at and it's only 4 or 5 of us on the level where I'm at, or I gotta go to New York.
Okay.
And I'm geared up to go to New York. Cause at this time my LA full of shit. These niggas out here ain't playing. This art shit is fake out here. Ain't nobody around. I need to go to New York where the average cab driver could teach me something.
Got it.
I was wanting to go to New York. And I sat there and we got that scholarship and it was for a lot of money. It was a lot of money. And then I remember Jalen was like, man, what school you want to go to? And I was like, damn. And I just was like, I disappointed all my friends. Robert Glasper, everybody thought they would have me ready, have my bunk ready for me in Brooklyn, you know. No, Harlem, on 127th, St. Nick. Everybody, I had my mom flew me out there, met with the dean, did all that. But when that money came, bro, at that same year, the Jay Leno money came, the same year, I had just got with Battle Cat.
Famous LA producer.
So, this same month, my mom wanted me to go to New York too, because she like, go to New York, baby, you blah, blah.
Get out of LA.
Man, when I got with Battle Cat and started meeting with Snoop and all them dudes at that young ass age and started making a little bit of money, and it was like, these were brothers that loved, and I was like, okay.
Y'all speaking the same language, but in a different.
I could have went to UCLA, but I thought UCLA was soft as fuck back then for me. I could have went to USC, but I wasn't that strong on the academic side. I was good. No disrespect, but I could have got to UCLA.
Yeah.
But USC was for
different.
People applying to colleges know what I mean.
Academic.
Going to that private school thing was a little different. You know, I said, damn, they're not gonna let me float, and I gotta have a career while I'm in school. I'm gonna have to be damn near school teacher going here. So I chose Cal Arts, the most expensive school that was still in LA. I chose the Cal Arts, and then the Cal Arts was like, yeah, but they didn't just let you in. You had to audition for Cal Arts. So at that time, I was graduating from Lock High, with all the Jay Leno money, and Ronald Bruner was graduating too. That's Thundercat's brother. And we would practice at Lock High. We said we gonna audition. Cal Arts came to the school, and we saw the musicians in Cal Arts, some bad cats, Tony Austin, and all these amazing musicians came to Lock High down to Watson. play for the black kids and watch type vibe.
You come
know
to
what
watch
I'm
to see
saying?
the kids.
Man, we wore them motherfuckers out, man. Me and Ronald wore them, man. We got to that audition. We said, when we get to the audition, we gonna be ready. So I said, what we gonna do, Ronald? Ronald was like the battery in my back. He still is. He said, we got a practice team. Reggie Andrews knows we trying to get into Cal Arts.
Reggie Andrews is
shout out to Reggie Andrews.
Yeah.
He's the godfather of LA to me. School teacher of so many Tyrese, Patrice Russian, everybody.
Yeah.
But I said, what we gonna do? Ronald said, we gotta practice. How long we gotta practice, Ronald? He said, at least 8 hours a day for 2 weeks. We gotta. Ronald said we gotta be on one accord when we walk in the audition. He said, all right. So we practiced 8 hours a day. John Coltrane with the music. Moments Notice was his tune. We practiced a lot. Moments Notice, and then we went from Moments Notice. We played like we love A Love Supreme then, and we love Impressions, those tunes. So we played those tunes. I remember because we were all black that day. We was serious young black jazz
so just
musicians.
him on the drums and you on sax?
Yeah, we didn't want to play with nobody else that audition. And the whole school was there, the other musicians. And we walked in, 2 kids from South Central LA, and they was like, man, stop. We gotta have y'all. It's a rap. Wow. So we went to Cal Arts. I went to Cal Arts, you know, but I hooked up with Cat and them, was doing Snoop shit. But I left Cal Arts. Then I ended up going back to USC. Then I really left USC. I went back to USC because they wrote me a check to come. So I went back to USC for a minute, but then
so you sought after on the school side.
Yeah. And I wasn't no dummy neither. Like,
no, I get it.
I wasn't no float through life, motherfucker.
So did you ever finish college?
No, I left college, the end of my sophomore situation, and I left and I moved to Dallas, Texas for like 5 months permanently to play with Kirk Franklin and God's Property. And I left college and then I went there, and then I got called back.
I never knew that.
I got called back. I remember I got called back. Marlon Williams called me. I was doing credit card fraud too the whole time. So that's how I was flying first class. Mother was just flying coach, hustle. So Marlon, my credit card fraud thing had just burnt out. It just stopped. And I was in the wintertime, and it was Minneapolis. This is before, right? It was Minneapolis. What year was 9/11?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
So it was right after 9/11. It was literally like, no, right before, I can't remember. It was the 9/11. Okay, no, hold on. It was after 9/11, like weeks after. Remember, nobody could travel.
Yeah.
But it was something called the GMWA, Gospel Music Workshop of America in Minneapolis. And this was my last God's Property gig. And I flew out there to meet the homies from God's Property, Robert Spud Seawright, writes and produces used groups like Snarky Puppy, Ghost Note, and everything. He was the MD and one of my mentors then. I said, man, I think this is going to be my last gig, bro. I didn't know that when I got to the airport to go back home, Minneapolis, my car didn't swipe no more. And I couldn't, they left my bags out.
The terror.
But my dad lived in Minneapolis, so I was with him. So I remember walking down the street. It's a club called Ardenella's. And if you know, you know, in Minneapolis. St. Paul, in St. Paul. And I was walking in front of Ardenella's. It's one of those God things again. Okay, I'm back. I need something. The fraud ain't working. This God's Property thing, paying $100 a week. What's going on? It's got to be something better. And I always told Marlon, because Marlon been with Snoop since 95.
Yeah.
So I said, man, if Snoop, any situation with Snoop opened up, man, like, I'll play horn, percussion, beats, roll a nigga blunts, cook burgers, carry luggage, carry a camera. I just need to be around that level. Anything, what can I do? He's like, when some come up, I'm going to call you. Marlon had the power.
Yeah, he kept it 100.
I was walking, and my cell phone, my burnt out Nextel rang. He said, hey, got a rehearsal at Center Stage tomorrow. Snoop Dogg, he want a horn section. He said, bring some beats, nigga. I didn't have no money to get back home. My dad ain't had no money. I called my mama because Rose came through. I said, Mama,
I'm coming home.
She's like, I ain't flying you home for nothing. I was like, I got a gig. I give you the whole check. She was like, forward the check to me. My mama different, bro.
Yeah.
I love my mama though, but it's business. She believes in business. So I did that. She flew me out. I did that rehearsal, and it was on ever since. I had my back pocket of beats. I played my position until I felt it was just time to. I felt I was humble enough and confident enough to submit my music to him. I had already worked with Superfly, everybody around him, but my thing was to get with the dog, because I felt, since I was 12, I prayed to work with Snoop, and I just felt if I got around Snoop and cats like Herbie, I just knew that could change my life. I just knew I had to get to the next step and be around the greatest motherfuckers in the world.
Yeah.
I was fighting to get to Snoop, bro.
So real quick, Kirk Franklin, how was the relationship there? Because you were working with Kirk Franklin, God's Property, like.
It was really more God's Property, like
Okay.
God, but it was, the title's Kirk Franklin, God's Property.
sure.
But God's Property was a community choir in Dallas, Texas, way before Kirk got involved. Kirk came to a musical.
Right.
And a midnight musical in Dallas. I just heard I knew the story, but I just heard the legit because we just did a concert celebrating my friend Bobby Sparks. He wrote like Silver and Gold with Kirk, the reason why you sing all these big records. So I just left Dallas 2 weeks ago, and I finally heard the real story by R.C. Williams that was there. It was a midnight musical, and Kirk walked into the place, to the church, and he was so fascinated. This choir was just on. The music, high-level music, and they was the only choir doing Earth, Wind, and Fire intros and Parliament intros. And Kirk was like, just like as he should, as the master genius Kirk is, I need a piece of that. I need to be part of that shit. They doing Parliament at the church?
Getting it off.
Niggas wasn't doing that. Y'all wasn't doing that. Y'all know the gospel ones, y'all wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? For sure, y'all, for sure. For sure, bro. For sure, bro. I was there. I was around. Nobody was doing this.
Yeah.
They was doing gospel. I felt like they was about to cuss, and they wasn't. You feel me? That's why when Kirk heard that, he said, Kirk knew what to do. I'm gonna make these a hit records. My GP friends gonna say they had the hits before Kirk. I'm gonna say the real. Kirk sprinkled that, and GP and Kirk did a thing and changed black music history. They went like 4 or 5 times platinum in that era, bro. Cleaned up the Grammys.
And we talking about
they was playing gospel music on mainstream radio. People say, oh, they was doing it with BB and CC. No, not like this. Not like this, bro. Not like this. You had gangbangers.
Yeah.
Not ones that go to church.
Playing stump.
You had ones banging Stump in the low-lows on Crenshaw. They shot the video at Dorsey, bro. You feel me? Ain't that funny how LA and everything?
Yeah.
And everything moving? It is.
All right, so
Snoop. I just had to get that Kirk Franklin, God's Property. Yeah.
we was
Shout out to Kirk. I just saw Kirk. Peace out to Kirk. Sending love to Kirk, man. Kirk is
He's a solid dude. I want to speak.
Kirk
to
is
him.
the one.
Yeah. So yeah, Snoop. Like
Now we're at Snoop Dogg era. What era is this?
Strong. I messed with a gang of times, but strong. We talking about 2001, 2000.
So this is
2001.
when Dogg was probably doing a lot of mixtapes. He was throwing.
This
out.
is right before. This is when I came in.
Right.
This is before No Limit, after No Limit.
This is No Limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is No Limit. This is after the first album though.
Okay.
So this is like Last Meal era.
This is Bitch Please. Okay.
All that shit.
But Terrace started doing a lot of the beats for Dogg.
The mixtape.
Mixtapes.
Snoop came to me. Snoop, we was on tour. I was cool. I wasn't a dude. I got beats. I finally had a chance to give Dogg some music. You know, the first person that played my music for Snoop, shout out to Goldie Loke. I was staying with Goldie Loke on 15th and Peterson on the east side of Long Beach at Goldie's place. And we would do music in the garage. And there would be a gang of homies in the garage from Long Beach. Shouts out to all the Rolling 20 Crips out there in Long Beach. It would be just a garage full of people with Goldie with his VS 2080, MPC 3000, and a Trinity. And he would come pick me up. Goldie Loke would come pick me up, and he would be like, man, let's do some music. And when Goldie Loke finally did a song with me that he felt it was good, the first person he looked at me, he said, we got one. I'm going to get Dogg on this. And I was like, oh, I remember this. And Goldie was the first one really that I felt me and Snoop had the music. But on the side where we could really stamp it is like on tour later on. Because Snoop meets everybody. Why the fuck would we remember that dumbass story for him? And it's such big for me. He's an icon. Let me not be that guy. You know what I'm saying? But we was on tour, an early tour, Red Hot Chili Pepper tour. And Snoop was always in the back playing beats, back then CDs. And I always had CDs. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I need some new beats. I kept hearing him say that. But I didn't want it to be like, because I'm from LA, bro. I don't want to get fired. I'm making some money now. I'm playing,
You don't want to overstep your boundaries.
because I only played horn one time on one gig. Then I started playing keyboard. Then I started hiring Kamasi and them to play horn for Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt it was time, and I said, "Man, I got some beats for you." And I gave him a CD. He said, "I can have these beats." I said, "Yeah." He said, "These mine?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "All mine?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I can do whatever I want with these beats." I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Cool." And right after that, the first thing he did was a CD, a mixtape called "Welcome to the Church."
Yeah.
And he did this Flua series. And I got cracking in LA because I did a lot of the music on all the Welcome to the Church. He wasn't paying me nothing for the beats.
Dog was putting out so many.
But he would say my name in interviews, and he would just boost me up, and I could always go to his house, and we just got so tight, and it was a dream. I never, you could ask any of them, I never called them chasing money from Snoop. Ain't one time in my fucking DNA I've called saying, I need this, I need that. It's always been an honor and a privilege to give that man music so he could say something of what I did so the world could hear and I could change my life off of that. I've never pressed anybody. It ain't never been that with me. It's always been cool, bro. Cool. I go for the old school cool. If I give you my heart, hopefully you give me yours. If not, it's cool. My job is to give you mine. I'm pushing.
Yeah.
I'm pushing. So I don't really give a fuck. Like, these are now my friends. It is a business. But I've been blessed to only be a part of a few crews in my life. And from Snoop, all them years with Snoop used to ask me, who you listen to? Who you want to be like? Mm-hmm. Quincy Jones, okay. Hey, Quincy, here go Terrace.
Intro.
Hey, man, I got to get with Teddy. Boom. I got to get with Dr. Dre. Boom. Whoever I want. My whole life, he's been like, let's put you to the next level. And he would call people like, hey, fuck with Terrace. Snoop, man, I'm in love with Lalo Schifrin. You know what Lalo Schifrin is?
Wow. He said that?
Mm-hmm. That's what I was telling him. And he said, oh.
Who's Lalo?
A master composer.
Yeah, okay. Like did scores, shows, and movies.
And at that time, I think Snoop was managed by a sweetheart, a darling by the name of Constance Schwartz.
Shout out to Constance.
Shouts out to always. Constance and Snoop are definitely part of me, like the biggest part of me linking with Quincy Jones, other than my ability. You know what I'm saying?
So you work with Quincy Jones as well?
For years, yeah, still.
So that's what I'm saying, it's layers. So I want not.
Remember how much money I spent in that record plant?
Yeah, man.
How much you spend?
Can you talk about it?
Nah, man.
You can't talk about it.
Shouts out to Quincy Jones, man.
Yeah, Terrace was working on a project that he had the record plant locked out.
Record plant is a studio here.
Record plant is at this time it's still a record plant is a crazy studio. It's expensive, and usually people just don't live at these places. But I was working on one song for like 2 years.
Okay.
But he got a lot out of that project.
Got it.
So anyway, yeah. So let's, for
sure.
So Terrace, you're working with Snoop. What's after Snoop? What's the next big thing after Snoop?
If I could count a chapter that turned the page,
because we didn't even talk about Ego Trip.
The next big thing after Snoop was.
Can you talk about Ego Trip?
Talk about all that, yeah. The next big thing after Snoop was in the business, being a record producer is you have to either break something or be a part of something monumental. Either you have to break it or what your art is. The art is so huge beyond you couldn't have broke it. The ability that God gave you broke it, and it's beyond everybody. It just happened. Weird things, godly things like that. So with the next big thing after Snoop was a downtime for me when I wasn't working with anybody and I didn't have any money, evictions and this whole era, but I was down to my last dollar. Every day was my last dollar. And I was squatting in the house, but in this particular house I was squatting in for like 9 months. I had a homie that was able to pay the rent over and over again. Like,
wait, which house was this, bro?
My first house in Porter Ranch on Harnett. I talk about this house openly because this house.
I've been there before. I didn't know you was.
Yeah.
Well, I would come over there
because I'm fly. I'm gonna tell you.
You always have fly spots. I just like, oh, Terrace is,
No, this plot was different because this was like I ran out of money. I lived beyond my means. I should have been back to my mama's house, but I just like fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I can't smoke weed there.
Because you had a dog kennel.
I had dog kennel. I was raising pit bulls. Crazy ass house.
We did a photo shoot there.
The owners would be like, get out the house. I had a dude that got a restraining order on the owners and the bank. So I was like,
I didn't know that was hard times for you, bro.
it was a rough time. It was a depressing cry at night. That's why I was drinking so much, and it was a dark time. But I mean, like that prayer when I was 12 and his age about staying committed, staying down. I don't play. I'm from an era of real things. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm from an era where I can't snitch because I feel my spirit will kill me, whether it's dumb or not. So I'm from this thing that, whether it's good or not, I'm from a thing that commitment is real. When you talking to that situation. So I was down, but just because my hardships ain't got nothing to do with you or nobody else, my shit was like, I fucked up. I was praising the blessings and not praising God. And that's really what happened in my life. And I fell down. But through that fall, not to be deep, but a lot of people was coming over my house at this fall. Shouts out to the people that really helped me out through this dark time was like Just Incredible and Sour Milk.
Yeah.
Where they would always come to my house and not realize it because I always have liquor and food. And
shout out to the LA Leakers.
Shout out to LA Leakers. But they would be like, yo, we want to do an album. But we want you to produce the whole album. Because we was hanging out every day. They was coming to my house every day. Like, just hanging out, playing music, turning me on. I was depressed. I don't even know if they knew. It felt like they knew and just was like, they was really nice people to me. I didn't know why they was nice to me. I didn't know them that well. But we ended up becoming brothers at this time. And we want to do an album. We want to start, we want to do an album. And it's a lot of new talent in LA that's on the rise. There's nothing really cracking yet, but this and that. And I was like, yeah, I'll see what's up on producing. Because back then it's like, if you're not Snoop or The Game or Dr. Dre, I don't see no money. I don't believe in it. I'm brainwashed. I'm typical at this time, mentally. And also at the same time, but I was working with TDE because I cut their first demo to get the Warner Brothers deal, me, Kendrick, and J-Rock, the first ever demo, to get that going over there. And then they got me going. That's the other side. That's that it gets deep. Yeah. The Top Dog shit is powerful to me. That relationship is powerful.
At that time you had Top Dog had a deal at Warner Brothers.
Top Dog is the label that Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah.
Because a lot of people may not know, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Terrace also had a production deal
at Warner.
Also. Shout out to
Tick. Tick and Naeem Ali was very pivotal in me and TD's career. So we was always friends, then we was in the same building together. So we was cutting records anyway. Me and J-Rock was hella tight, died too, so we was cutting records. This is before a lot of people. This is, so it's called Ooh, I'm Gonna Tell My Mama on You. It's on, you can look it up online. Where we at?
So you saying this is...
So Just Incredible and...
So they was over to the crib always, and then I was working with K-Dot at the time, here and there. And then Just Incredible and them started telling people to come to my house. And just go to his house, man. One of the first guys was Dom Kennedy. Go to his house, and we did songs. And then after that, I met a guy through my little cousin. Gino had another cousin named KC Veggie. And Casey Veggie was ditching school 15, 16, coming to my house. And Casey said, man, you need to meet my guy Chuck, which is Calmatic. And they would all come to my house in high school, right? Calmatic come, and he ended up becoming like a creative director in my life personally, because he'd be like, hey, that's not cool. This is cool. Yeah, you heard of Overdose? They not really cracking yet. Do this. Hey, Terrace, you should come to this place, and it's a crew. It's a guy named Tyler, the Creator. You should go check these guys out. Oh, Terrace, do you know who Frank Ocean is? Nah. Wait a minute. Oh, that's Lonnie. He's the songwriter. Oh, he's Frank. So Calmatic was early with all this shit. So I had all these young guys around me. And, I'm a Miles Davis fan. That's what Miles did. He got Herbie, Wayne, Tony, Ron Carter. He got the guys around him. They surrounded him. And all I did was get the young cats around me. Because I was already at 29 in hip-hop. You're an elder at that time. 28, 29, you're an elder.
Yeah.
You're old nigga in hip-hop at that time, before Hove turned 50. This is when 30 was the new 20.
Right.
Oh, I got action. Now, now the 70's the new 40, So this was at that time, and I didn't have any money. I was squatting. I didn't want to leave that house because I had a studio set up, and you remember the setup.
Yep, yeah, nice.
And everybody was coming through, and I was recording everybody and just having a lot of music done. A lot of those records ended up being, a lot of early me and early Kendrick Lamar records and different people like that, Snoop and everything. But then that time, that was like 2 years of a dark but positive time. Because it was 2 years of dark because I didn't make any money in what would become the old record business. I didn't know that I would be one of the new leading figures in the black art world in the record business, which is a different component. Because we don't live off numbers and we still get the checks. So it's a different thing. It's a few people that still have integrity in this business, and for some reason we're attached to them. And they have children. It just goes on like that. And we make sure we spread that to keep those kind of plants in the business, in the entertainment business. You know what I'm saying?
Sheesh.
And now we have them. It's all kind of real plants out here that come from a cloth. You got Issa, she from the cloth. Ava, she from the cloth. It's something with Los Angeles. Not to be funny, but I'm talking about below the 10 LA. Not the LA everybody flies to. Below the 10.
South of the 10
It's something
freeway.
about, south of the 10 freeway.
Yeah.
It's something about the natives. It's something about, 'cause I think we're so coming from New Orleans in the South that's the first stop is the hood. We don't learn these other actions until the out-of-towners come, get the bag, and we have to morph to these other things to make a living. Then we learn that. But being Hollywood and being LA, being all that fake shit, that was imported. I just want to put that out there.
All right, so
too.
I get it.
So let's go from. Let's talk about TD, and let's talk about To Pimp a Butterfly, and how instrumental Terrace Martin sound or DNA is in To Pimp a Butterfly. How important? Like, what gave K Dot the wherewithal to like, hey Terrace, I need your DNA for this, because I know you, and I hear it all through that album.
That was all Kendrick Lamar idea. I was a little fearful going into that record at first, coming off of Good Kid, Mad City, and I was coming off of YG, My Crazy Life, and I was always a little scared to really incorporate that level of jazz or things like that into the hip hop, because I didn't want to not work. And I didn't want to be the too musical guy I was being all the time in hip hop, and that's jazzy too musical in hip hop. Before that album, that was a sacrilegious thing. That was I like that. Like, you know, you be playing beats. Say Fifth, you playing records for Fifth and Sean Money. Back in the day, they didn't used to play your records on 50 Cent had to play it. He play your shit on a laptop, and they better move him on a laptop.
Yeah.
So you can't so with Fifth, you know, and then, you know, you hear a nigga be like, that's that jazz. You like next, whoop.
Yeah.
Right.
So I never wanted to cross that angle. So in the beginning to Pimp a Butterfly, I don't even know when we started it, because we still working. Like, it hasn't stopped since the early 2000s. So I don't know when starts and finishes happen, you know, really. But I will tell you, I'll tell you one story. It covers the whole mindset of the album.
All right.
We're gonna be all right. So we're in the studio. We're at. You took me there for my first time for a Jimmy Iovine, Dr. Dre party. At the Tom Tom Club.
Yeah. Damn,
Remember you came and got me?
Yeah.
You came and got me. That was before I was struggling in Woodland Hills. Then I started struggling after that. I should have paid it. Anyway, that's another day. We was in that studio and just doing records, and I remember that song, when it got brought to the table, sounded different. You know, anytime a record comes to Soundwave and it's gonna be totally different. So we was here, and we gonna be all right in the beginning stages of the record. You have Pharrell, and you have some different things going on in the song.
You said Soundwave because a lot of people may not know.
Oh, Soundwave is personally just a dear friend and one of my favorite record producers, one of my top 5 in the world. But Soundwave is like a big part of the heartbeat behind TDE when it comes to music. Not only him hands-on doing music, but him knowing where to put different things and artists, and being a master A&R as well. You know, so shouts out to Wave. I got to talk to him about a record in a minute, matter of fact. But so we hearing the song, we gonna be all right. And Kendrick's like, man, go in there and play saxophone on it. I'm like, all right, you know. And I'm doing like what I felt would be safe saxophone. And he's the one that was like, no. Play it how you be playing it when we go hear you, when it's that other shit. Like, play it like how, you know. Like, do you, but like not, you know, like it was, you know, it was terms. For me, it was terms used for me like, and not so old LA.
Got it.
You know, because old LA about getting a check, you know, getting that bread. But this record wasn't about money. That we want to make a statement. So it was like a lot of those things going on where people like to give me a lot of the credit for the whole To Pimp a Butterfly thing for shifting it, but in actuality, I was a huge piece of the puzzle, but I was shifted to be in any situation I get in. If the artist has a picture, my job is to just make that picture the best picture it could be for that particular artist. That's a record producer's job. You know, before I'm a jazz musician or any of these things, I feed him. He wears Jordans and all kind of crazy shit. Very expensive kid.
Very expensive guy.
I make a living, a decent high living where I feel I can pay for my children in my life off of the ability to write a song, to produce a record. Mm-hmm. So as he's twisting me in my head, I'm saying, even for the beats, I'm like, I'm scared. I'm like,
you sure you want this?
I'm like, you sure, bro? Like, we coming off of a record. And me being selfish, I'm coming off of that. I'm having a good, after being broke for all these years we talking about, I'm finally having you feel me? I'm kind of like, I'm finally having
let's go.
I'm like.
But that's important to even say, because like, you could have got selfish and like, I'm cool. Let's stay right here in the pop side.
Oh man, I could have went all the way. Bro, Punch me. Shout out to Punch. Punch is the president of Top Dog Entertainment. Punch is also that's my bro. And he like my friendager. He not a manager, but he like
you got to know the dynamic. He's very,
Yeah. Punch watches the managers and lawyers. You know, that's just bro. Punch, man, you got to go meet with that, go see what that artist is. I'll be like, man, I ain't going none of that shit, man, But I was coming off them records and a lot of other stuff, just a lot of, after suffering for so long, for like 4 or 5 years of every time the 28th came, anxiety for the first, or when the first came, if they didn't call on the first for bills, I had action to the 5th. I'm not stressed out to the 5th. Or just that life for like 16 years of living that life that I have finally had 2.5 years of where the payments are on time. The mothers of my children could get their money on time to help out because these kids are expensive. I could afford to fly all my kids out because he lives in Georgia. He just moved to Georgia though, but so we got to fly him out. And he's 14. That's like, you got to pay for I'm hot. I'm still hot. I'll be tripping, huh? I'm hot. The minor fee is crazy, bro. And he's more intelligent than most adults and he could do everything. But anyway, I could finally do these things without tripping because I'm not hot about how much it costs. I'm hot how they getting over.
Right.
So I could finally do all these things and then remember I told you I grew up with jazz. That's why it's important to know the layers. You see what I think about jazz. My father's my first influence. I love it. It's the art. But he loved it. He loved the art. He gave the art. He gives the art everything. He sacrificed a lot. He sacrificed a family. A lot of black men did. A lot of artists do. People don't know that. They sacrifice a family to make a living for a family. How ironic. It's that weird shit, but it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So as Kendrick is telling me this, he don't know I'm dealing with some other shit. Steven is there to help me out, Thundercat, because he knows me personally. So he's like, man, just do it. And I'm having real issues doing these sessions. I'm like, I'm not doubting it, but I'm just finally...
You own and you don't want anything to slow you up.
I'm finally not the jazz guy, and I finally figured this shit out. And then here this motherfucker come, want to do this? Yeah. But you know what? When I felt good when I started digging into different religions too and just start studying all of them. And I just, I'm not Buddhist, but one thing that I do take from them that I love is you could find beauty in every problem and you could turn poison into medicine. And I just started studying these concepts heavy. Also, at the time I'm doing To Pimp a Butterfly, I'm also kicking a strong Molly and ecstasy 3-year, 4-year habit intensely because I'm depressed as fuck, but at least when I pop the pill and get a little vodka, I could turn up and feel great for these 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
So I'm fucked. Now I've turned into the era that I remember, like most of us did and didn't realize it or were scared to say it. So now I'm in a dark place kicking shit by myself. I'm not going to rehab. I'm too hip at this time, and I ain't got time. I can't afford to go to rehab. But I gotta do the dope to keep up. Oh, it's a web, right? So I'm kicking, so I'm overly drinking on To Pimp a Butterfly sessions. I'm like, and I seen how just that being that TDE is such a family They didn't pay it no mind. They was taking care of their brother. I would sleep there. I would just give Kendrick my best idea. When he said he wanted to twist things and not sound like anybody else, I just went into that mode. Because I know the recipes to do that because I studied Train. I studied Miles. I studied Jack and McLean. I studied Art Tatum. I studied Parliament. You know these things. You work, you look at a piano, you figure out how not to play the fifth, how to twist it to where it may feel the same but sound the same. You figure out how to twist the rhythm where you just know these tools, how not to be like any motherfucker on the radio. And if we do a hit record, it's on purpose, nigga. It's on purpose.
Which records did you touch? Produced by Terrace Martin on to that K-Dot album?
I don't know. It's 8 of them. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, King.
Which one is your favorite then?
Nothing. I don't never listen to him again. It's a moment. That particular record, because I can't listen to it again. It took a lot. And that was the thing that's one of those things I talked about earlier, that you can't control things that shift your life and you can't control it. So that's a mirror. That's just a picture that it did what it's supposed to do for all of us. It definitely, just to keep it real, me, Thundercat, Kamasi, we was doing things, but let's keep it 100. That record catapulted black jazz musicians to another level.
Yeah. And
Robert Glasper as well. Robert motherfucking Glasper as well, because he was the first one cracking in all of us, and he was coming to LA sharing his celebrity with all of us, just to try to catch us up to his certain. Then when Pimp Butterfly came, I just threw the ball back to bro, because I know he gonna keep the ball coming back and forth like he do.
It's kind of crazy because that album, I think it came out 2016, 2017. 15. All right, so 2020, you listen to that album and it was like, dog, that album is so ahead of its time. I remember when they stormed the Capitol, I posted that picture on my Instagram. Yeah. And I was like, dog, could you imagine?
Yeah, he was early, bro.
Yeah.
And even in them stats, he was once we dialed in, we was dialed in though. Once we dialed in, I remember, just for me personally, just I can't speak for a lot of people, but for me personally, I remember just some years going there, just being excited to go, because I was finally in this. Then my narrative switched. I was finally in a situation that I was raised to be in. I was finally in something that I could use all my skills.
In your bag.
I was in my bag, and me and Soundwave, man, was just going through. It wasn't a record that came through, that wasn't just touched or fumbled with. That was just at a certain level, just to make it not. Even if Dot would get a record that sound like somebody that was going on, he'd be like, man, we got to make this sound different.
That's great. Let's fast forward. We got one last question, because I know we got to wrap. Explain to everybody what Sounds of Crenshaw is, because you have been stamping this for years. What is the Sounds of Crenshaw?
Sounds of Crenshaw is really what it is. For me personally, Sounds of what it means is, Sounds of Crenshaw is just me bringing it back to what everybody comes to Los Angeles, what I feel for and to identify with and don't know what to say, what it is. We used to have a place called Maverick Flats on Crenshaw, which was our Apollo. That's where Tina Marie broke at, Howard Hewitt broke at, Rick James come through, everybody in the game would come through, Richard Pryor do sets. It's still there. You should drive past it, it's still there. Maverick Flats. And everybody would come here. Then we got Central Ave. We got all these things in LA that nobody talks about, but were very culture shifting things that nobody talks about. So my thing, when I named it, I wanted a name that could bring it back to when people ask me these things, I could say these things and let them know that no, LA has been a artsy thing. It just got dissolved at a certain time, but it's been the foundation for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? So the Sound of Crenshaw for me is what I grew up hearing from Lamert Park. On 43rd and Degnan, you had the World Stage where you had jazz going on.
Yep.
Poetry nights. You go 3 stores down, you got Fifth Street Dicks where you got the more intense instrumental, cut your teeth straight ahead, the closest to New York you gonna get. Like you not knowing no song playing with these motherfuckers at this time.
Okay.
You're not just having the day job, getting your horn out, saying you're gonna express yourself. No, And then 2 doors down, you had Project Blow.
Hip hop.
You had the hip hop spot where you had Freestyle Fellowship come out of with Ben. Shouts out to Ben Caldwell. Ben had a spot called The Good Life, where you had cats like Busta Rhymes come through. Like, first of all, I love everybody. I love everybody, but just to keep it 100 on some real LA history, Like, if cats studied Micah 9 and certain MCs out of LA in the early 80s, but a lot of cats was coming out here.
Right.
A lot of New York cats, MCs, was coming out here getting game from these cats. A lot of them coming out here getting served from them too, though.
Yeah.
But the history won't never say that, you know.
That's what Volume 10
because
came out of that. Good Life, Volume 10.
Okay.
Real pump, like, if
well,
people don't know.
well, but the West Coast, whether it's been punk or hip hop, it's factual. We've always had the strongest underground scene than anybody.
Yeah.
Because New York, you got to think, if back then you dope in New York, you dope, you catch your ear, you on.
You pop it.
Here, you had to have a story. You know, we broke New York records. K-Day broke Run DMC. K-Day was the only hip hop station.
In LA.
The only
on
hip hop
AM station.
station.
Yeah.
The only 100% hip hop station. Not in LA.
Period.
Yeah.
K-Day, LL, Run DMC, Greg Mack, they all broke them records.
In LA.
I mean, Russell tell you that though.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Sounds of Crenshaw.
Sounds of Crenshaw and K-Day, where was K-Day at?
Oh, Crenshaw.
Jazz, Crenshaw, hip hop, Crenshaw, Maverick Flash, R&B, Crenshaw. So the sound of Crenshaw, the sound of black music to me. I just named the name because that's the street everything was on that you could walk to. It's really just black music. I'm just bringing light to this rich street that people may just think of from Boys in the Hood or from this or, you know what I'm saying, or this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
You
deep.
know?
Listen, dog, can we give it up for Terrace Martin, bro?
Oh, he's dropping,
Like,
he's
thank
dropping
you, bro.
knowledge.
Like, bro.
Yo, hold up. Yo, shouts out real quick. Let me say this, though. I always want to bring up this because I want this to be known about Nipsey. Such a pillar in my community, to the world, but just my area, my motherland. The things that he was doing, everybody knows what they write about he was doing, but let me tell you what he was doing personally. I used to be able to call Nipsey. I'm about to go to Africa for my first time. What should I do? Off top, cuz I'm gonna pull up and come talk to you.
He would do that, yes.
Come to my mama house, sit down and be like, all right, first of all, let me tell you what nigga mean to them. And he told me these stories about how, you know, he got into some trouble out there. And he really taught me, and through that stories when he said, he taught me self-hate.
That's crazy.
And what Crenshaw meant to him and different things and how, you know, we both used to be, we both agreed that the Vision Theater should be the new Apollo.
That's in Lamar Park.
You know, it should be a school and Apollo, you know. But he was a very pillar in the Crenshaw
100%.
situation as well, but not just to a side of the side, but to just every level of it, like a real Renaissance man, you know. And that's also what Crenshaw stands for. It stands for freedom, you know. Obviously, you see about 12 white families walking poodles in the hood. They free like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It stands for freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but Crenshaw's always been, it's a melting pot. And when I say sounds of Crenshaw, it just means sounds of everything. Sounds of, we inspired the world and we're inspired by the world, you know.
And it's your album that's coming out.
No, my album is Drones that's coming out.
But Sounds of Crenshaw.
Sounds of Crenshaw is the label. Sounds of Crenshaw
Yeah.
with BMG, you know.
Listen, dude, Terrace Martin, man. It's so much in this. It's
It's
so
a
rich.
little though.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like, if we didn't, you know, we got to think. Like, we could have went on and on, like, because it was a couple things that.
We'll
just
get back.
thank you, bro.
We'll have another
Hey,
later.
I be seeing y'all interviews. I like y'all interviews. I be seeing
Thank
y'all
you.
interviews. I
Thank
like
you.
your interviews.
Thank you, bro.
I mean, some niggas be soft on there, but I be seeing y'all interviews. and
Hey,
niggas,
man.
and niggas be acting for the camera, cuz niggas be cutting it on, cuz.
You see what it is.
So
we here.
listen, man.
Especially the artsy ones.
FAQ podcast, frequently asked
Hey, niggas,
questions
niggas always try to make shit confusing.
with Fuzzy and Quincy. Yo, check us out. FAQ podcast on YouTube, FAQ podcast on Instagram.
All platforms.
Yeah, all platforms. The Terrace Martin, man.
This is the
We
best
appreciate you.
podcast, bro. This one and Gilly.
That's our
Those are
family.
Yeah.
These two. Wallow, come on, man.
Keeps it
I be
100.
so happy. I just be praying he don't trip and fall, run to the camera, man. Every time Wallow come, every time Wallow run, I be like, woo! and I wait to get the word from Wallow. I
Yeah.
can't wait to meet those
Shout out
dudes,
to
man.
them.
And
Yeah.
when I be hitting them on the DM, like thanks, man. They like
Oh,
they're like stars to
No,
me.
they
Like,
cool.
yeah,
No,
I love them guys,
connect you with
man.
them.
You know where they from?
Yeah, they from Philly.
All right, and just wanted to
First
get
of
that in
all,
the clear.
I know about Gilly just from being young with the dog and moving in and out of New York and with Corrupt moving in and out of Philly and Germantown and everything. So I know Gilly the Kid name ringing bells on a few different levels. It's good to see where he at, coming from an MC tycoon. No, don't get it fucked up. And somebody that's always been a pillar of the streets and been a voice of the streets. That's why I follow Gilly, because I've been a fan of Gilly just on some street nigga shit young. Yeah. So when Gilly did this, I'm like, I'm rolling with Gilly. And then when his cousin hop out of the pen with that kind of drive, and I'm sitting at home, I need to have you follow them, man. You got to see this drive. You need this drive.
Hell yeah. Well, look, Terrace, man, we appreciate your time, bro.
It's all good, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you, brother.
Again.
FAQ Podcast, frequently asked questions with Fuzzy and Quincy. Terrace Martin, man. The Terrace Martin, man.
Big.